You've tuned in to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Callie Estes and Dr. Tara Lynn Sell. Your access to success strategies and more to help you move onward and upward with your life. Listen in each week as they interview others who have really taken their essence to the next level and truly unpaused their life. Now here are your hosts, Dr. Callie Estes and Dr. Tara Lynn Sell.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. This is Dr. Callie Estes, and I am founder of the Addictions Academy, the Addictions Coach, and Rehab Rescue. Welcome to Unpause Your Life. This is a great podcast where we showcase people who have done something extraordinary with their life. I welcome you, and I hope you enjoy all of our guests.
On my way, found a reason to wake up another day. But they needed to show.
You are listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Callie Estes of the Addictions Coach, the Addictions Academy, and my co-host,
Dr. Tara Lynn Sell from drtaralyn.com.
Our guest today is Kathy Fettke. She's the co-CEO of Real Wealth Network and best-selling author of Retire Rich with Rentals. We're very excited to have her. She is an active real estate investor, licensed real estate agent, and former mortgage broker specializing in helping people build multi-million-dollar real estate portfolios that generate passive monthly cash flow for life. Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you.
So I'm going to start us off with the first question. Where did you come up with this idea?
I wish I could say I planned it. It was kind of a step-by-step process like most things in life. About 15 years ago, my husband was really at the top of his game. He had written a book called Extreme Success. We had just bought like a 6-bedroom house and right outside of San Francisco. We had 2 beautiful young children, and my life was perfect. I was pretty much a stay-at-home mom and living the dream. And he came back from his book tour and had walked in the door with tears in his eyes. I'm like, what happened? He said he had gone to the doctor. He had just gone to a doctor's appointment, came back, and he had melanoma. And after further testing, they thought it had spread to his liver and told him he had 6 months to live.
Oh my God.
So life sends curveballs, and sometimes it does come when you're at the top of your game, when everything seems great, and bam, something else shows up. And so it turns out that, after treatment and so forth, Rich is fine and he's with us today. But at the time I didn't know. I was, mom of 2 kids. I was kind of out of the work world and basically dealing with coloring books and diapers and stuff like that. So I had no idea how to take over the finances, but I knew I needed to so that he could get better. And so the one thing I had from my career that I kind of kept with me was a radio show in San Francisco that I did for fun. I didn't really make any money. But I thought, okay, I'm going to leverage that and kind of do the thing that I do know how to do, which is radio. And I thought I'm just going to use this platform to find out how on earth, I can be a stay-at-home mom and make money. That's what I wanted. And so I just started interviewing people one after the other, how they created passive income. And the show is still here today. It's called The Real Wealth Show, and I'm still doing it, still interviewing people, finding out how they're building wealth.
Awesome. So when I look at this online, the thing that I'm curious with is this joint funding investing. What is this all about?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, so basically back then, after interviewing so many people, I discovered there's really a couple of ways that wealthy people invest their money and how they make their money. And it's usually through owning a business or owning real estate. And so Rich and I, kind of listened to them and started buying income properties, but not in California. It was too expensive. So we had to learn how to identify the right places to buy and what kinds of things to buy and what would bring in the most cash flow, again, so we could have this passive income. And at the time, it was Texas that was booming. And California was already peaked. It was like, in the mid 2000s, crazy loan time. And home prices were super high. So we just started having events where people could come and learn from pros and experts and basically rich people we don't normally get to hang out with. And we learned, Rich and I did it. We bought a bunch of properties in Texas. I can tell you how we did that, and at the time with no money down. And that just grew this investor group. And so now we have 38,000 members, and that allows us, people can buy property in their own name, just like any normal real estate deal. Or if they just don't want to manage it at all, they want to go that extra step of totally passive, then they can join one of our syndications, which is a group investment, and let us manage it so that they don't have to do anything.
Sometimes I really wish that we were on video because I'm sitting here with my mouth open. Whoa. I'm like, Callie meet Kathy, Kathy meet Callie.
Okay, so Kathy, this is up my alley because I'm like business. That's all I'm thinking about. How to make money. I've got my hand in 5 different companies. I'm in. So here's my question. So I did something on a baby scale completely by accident. I wanted to buy a place in Colorado. Because I'm self-employed, they want everything but blood to give you a loan. And I couldn't get the loan. But I put 60 grand in, teamed up with somebody who could do the loan. We got the house. We split the income. Is that what I'm hearing you say? Things like that?
That is definitely a great way to do deals. I mean, it all starts with mindset. You've got to know that it's possible. And too often people don't even take that next step. It's just like, oh, in your case, you might have said, oh, well, I can't get a loan, but you didn't. And so that's what a lot of people do is just go, they don't even bother to find out if they can even get the loan, in the first place. So it starts with mindset and an open mind, wanting to know, like me, how do other people do it? I know people are out there buying real estate. How are they doing it? And so I got the opportunity to interview people and find out. But today, there were no podcasts back then. But today there are podcasts all over the place with information on how to do this. It's no secret anymore. It used to be. So what you're talking about and what you did is fantastic. It's like you decide I'm going to do this and then you find a way to do it, and there's people who would love to partner, who maybe have the ability to get the loan, but don't have the down payment, or they have money in their in their IRAs and think, the market's kind of high. I don't know. Maybe it's time to move on, and they can self-direct and lend to you. And be like a bank and have their money secured to a property at a low LTV. There's so many ways to go about it. You just have to have an open mind.
So this is awesome.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like, Callie, we talk all about law of attraction all the time and mindset and keeping an open mind and, stepping away from your fear, right? So I know my husband and I used to own some commercial property, and we've said to ourselves, never again. Do you find there is a difference between like commercial property and what's the other one? Non-commercial property? Homes.
Residential. Yeah.
Thank you, residential. I still have my mouth dropped down to my kneecaps at this point. I'm like, well, I don't even know the lingo. Go ahead.
Well, here's the thing, and I do get excited about this stuff, and then I have to temper myself because you can make money and you can lose money at the same time. There are good deals and there's bad deals, no matter what the market, no matter what the asset class. So are there commercial properties that will suck you dry and take all your money and make you bankrupt? Yes. Are there residential properties that will do that? Yes. And on the flip side, can you make money in all asset classes? Yes. So it just, you've got to treat it like a business and research, study, understand, network, or align yourself with someone who's doing that. So again, when you were asking about group projects, hey, I've got Silicon Valley engineers who work 60 to 80 hours a week. They don't have time to do what I do. So they trust me and let me do it for them because I have a track record. But too often people will just kind of jump into something without really doing the homework that's needed. Just like, you can start a business and what is it? 1 out of, 50% fail or something. I forget. There's like a big statistic. A lot of people can swim, but you don't want to jump in. You don't want to dive into the deep end before you've been in the shallow part, right? And taken lessons.
Yeah.
I feel like having, Callie and I, we both have I've had 20 years of business ownership myself, and, we're already against the odds. So clearly we have something that a lot of people don't have, whether it's drive, ambition, or just mindset that this is going to work. This is fascinating stuff. I love it.
So what's the number one thing when you were meeting with these wealthy people? What's the best piece of advice they said?
At the time I interviewed Robert Kiyosaki in 2014, I think. And that's when he taught me that, there's cycles and to get ahead of the crowd. So generally the crowd is not educated and they're following the crowd. And so you just have to be ahead of it and be able to see what's coming. There really is no such thing as a park your money and 20 years later, just hope it all turned out. Life isn't like that anymore, but I think we want it to be, and we hope it will be. And we've been kind of trained to not pay too much attention, just hand it over to your financial planner and just let them know and don't worry about it and let it sit for 30 years and everything will be fine. And that's really the equivalent of giving birth to a child and handing it over to someone and saying, give it back to me in 20 years. And I hope my kid is, well raised. It just doesn't work that way. You got to pay attention. And your money is what will take care of you in the future. Maybe your kids will, but probably your money is what will take care of you in the future.
I'm not counting on my kids, unfortunately.
I'm counting on you, right?
Right.
So, you've got to pay attention, and it's not what we always hoped for, or maybe what our grandparents had, which, work at a company for 30 years and there's your pension and you're good. You have a wonderful retirement. It's not like that anymore. Companies don't provide that. The government doesn't provide it. You just saw, you probably just saw headline news that they're finally admitting that Social Security will run out. There's not enough to support the aging population. That's massive. And so, no one's going to be there for you. You got to figure it out, and you got to do it for yourself.
It's funny. I did see that on the news, and I started doing math in my head. Am I going to be around by that time? I was doing a little calculation about that, but that's kind of, so I think about that. Do you have any other strategies for passive income that are not real estate related, or do you just primarily work in the real estate realm?
Well, there's so many different kinds of businesses. Running a business that is self-managed is a fabulous way to create cash flow. If you've got a good idea and you have the ability to enroll people and train them and oversee them, and then hire people to oversee them and, let it run itself. It could be as simple as a laundromat where, there's lots of ways to create passive income. Even my daughter's kind of first boyfriend is kind of adopted him. We just love him, even though they broke up. We're not going to let him go. We love him. So, she thinks that's weird, but she shouldn't pick such nice people. Anyway, he's just, he wants to do real estate. He's only 21. And so what he did instead? He bought an old bus for like $5,000 and fixed it up. So it's like you can live in it. It's like an RV, which apparently millennials are into right now. They love to just sort of drive around in their car, in their home. And so he took this old bus, fixed it up, made it into a little RV, put a few thousand into it, including solar and a little kitchen and everything, and flipped it for like $20,000. And so, but he got all these offers because we live in California. It's expensive. He got offers from people who are willing to pay $600 a month just to live in it. And he had bought it for $5,000, So, there's so many different ways to create passive income. You just have to start thinking about it, looking for it, studying it, talking to people, going to the right networking groups. You become like the 5 people you hang out the most with. And so when you look around and say, I want to change my life, then and you don't like where you are, then maybe you need to add a few people into your life who are living the life that you do want, so you can learn from them.
Well, Kathy, I'm going to add you into my top 5. Right now today. My Facebook friend request is on its way, I'm telling you.
Awesome. I will accept.
Oh, man.
It's so interesting. you mentioned the RV because we're doing that. We bought an RV.
I was just going to say that, Callie.
Yeah, we bought an RV for my husband's band. And then we got the bright idea, let's live in it. We did it for a year. We both decided that living in an RV park just doesn't fit our personality. We're both city people.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
we're renting it out and we're getting $273 a night just to rent it. So for the whole month
Are
of
you?
July. Yeah.
Oh, we were thinking about doing that too. Are you doing Airbnb for it?
Yeah, it's called Outdoorsy. So the Airbnb version for RVs is outdoorsy.com. And our first offer was for the entire month of July for $5,300. And we're like, check mark. There's the payment. So.
And do they drive it?
Yeah. They meet you at the location. You show them how to use it. You sign all the agreements, and then everything's done through the Outdoorsy. So the insurance and all that's covered, and then they take it.
Oh my gosh, that's
I mean,
amazing.
they take it out of the RV park?
Yes. Oh God, yeah. They take the first guy's going to he's going to Wisconsin. He's coming up to your direction.
Well, crap, I've got a fifth wheel. I think I need to start doing that.
I think I need to rent out my RV. What are you
Exactly.
sitting there collecting dust? Oh my goodness.
Exactly. Callie, this is now your podcast. Turn it over to Callie. Oh wait, we've got a threesome here going on. The three of us. We're in our own little party now. So
I thought about Airbnb-ing it, but then I thought, boy, I don't know if I want that responsibility. So I will definitely be looking at Outdoorsy. That's fantastic.
Yeah, they cover, in terms of liability, they got everything covered. So they check the driver's license, they check the history, they collect the money, they collect the deposit. So everything's done for you. All you have to do is make sure it's clean, show them how to use it, and then, meet them there and pick it up. And that's it.
Amazing. Very cool.
Yeah.
huh.
So yeah, there's all kinds of ways to be creative. And these are the reasons why you want to hang out with cool people and people that are doing, because you get ideas. I mean, I go to conferences all the time, with creative investors to just learn, talk to people. What are you doing? How'd you get started? But it's also why my show is still running 13 years later, because I do the same thing there. I just want to hear what people are doing, and it will change your life. You get ideas. If you're hanging out with people who are miserable, they work too much and they hate their job, and that's not very inspiring.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, that's exactly
absolutely not. I'm still, my jaw is still on my kneecaps right now. I don't know.
Why is your jaw on your kneecaps?
Because I'm enthralled with this conversation. I'm like, sign me up, man. Sign me up. I'm signing up for Outdoorsy. I'm signing up for the Real Wealth Show. I don't know. What else can I sign up for here today? I'm in. I'm Facebook friends with Kathy now. It's just all coming together in my life.
Oh, well, I've got a great dance class that you can sign up for.
Oh, there you go. Hey, awesome.
It is with the lady who does the choreography for Pink. So there's a lot of learning things that only an 18-year-old should be doing, but us middle-class ladies are trying it anyway.
I've seen Pink's choreography. I'm scared by that. I don't know.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, exactly.
My daughter won't go. She's like, I can't see moms doing this. This is not okay.
Exactly.
I took my first aerial silks class and pole dancing class at the ripe old age of 43.
Awesome.
Let me tell you, it is nothing like you think it is. I have bruises on places I didn't know existed.
Yeah, that is hard work.
It was very hard. It was nothing like it. It looks amazing and easy. Forget it.
No, it's not.
Did it make you money to sign up for that?
No. Someone could hire me.
Well,
to do that. I couldn't turn myself upside down. I couldn't even pull myself up on the pole. I just couldn't do it. It's bad.
No, either.
That's exactly. That's an exercise, and I'm not worthy right now. Oh man. I think I know some of the answers to this, but Kathy, what's the most badass thing you've ever done?
Ooh, let's see. I would say, I learned how to surf because
Cool.
I try to keep up with my husband, who's just he wrote a book called Extreme Success, which is all about his extremes. I mean, he was in the X Games, but anyway, so I learned to surf so I could do something with him, and I actually learned it. And then there was it's always guys. It's all the guys and me. And there was this day with big waves, and I just wanted to show off to all these big surfers. And so I went too deep. I went into the part that's all rocks because I wasn't paying attention. And this wave turned out to be massive. And I was at the top of it. I mean, massive in my mind, probably was not, but
it was like a 2-inch wave. Get real. Come on.
But all of a sudden, like the water pulls back to go up into this wave, it just all sort of retreats. And I'm at the top of it and there's nothing below me but rocks, like no water. And it was like, okay, you're trying to show off in front of all these surfers and you're on the top of this wave. You better stick it because it will not go well. And I did. I surfed this wave. I stayed on. I didn't hurt myself. And this group of like super cool surfer dudes all were cheering and clapping for me. So yeah, that was badass.
That is pretty badass. That is very badass.
On the real estate side, I would say probably the most like exciting there is that we got this, we were told, sometimes you got to move quickly on deals. You got to move real quickly. And sometimes you don't have time to research it. So you got to do it safely, but quickly. And so somebody brought us this deal where this person kind of was about to get foreclosed on, this group of investors on this 800 acres surrounding a college that just hadn't been built out yet. So all the student housing and this little town, I mean, it was all ready to go. But this group of investors, it took them too long to get their entitlements and their permits. So they ran out of money and they had a hard money loan and were going to get foreclosed on. We had to raise the money in like a week to be able to buy them out so we wouldn't get foreclosed on. And we did. We raised $13 million in a couple of days. But I also didn't have time to research this property because we had 2 days. And so we structured it in a way that was a note so that we bought out the note, like, the loan, so that they couldn't foreclose. But then we had an option to buy in 3 months. So we would have time for our due diligence. And so that was a great deal because the property comes with a $60 million, appraisal. And we're, in it for, much less. So that's exciting. That was like a rock star real estate moment.
That is a rock star real estate moment. Yeah. That's a risk. And when you said, I figured Kelly, you were going to jump in when she said, we didn't have time to research. She's always jumping my ass about researching too much. I'm like, you didn't have time to research. I'm out.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't. That's the problem with the really good real estate deals. But, and especially since investors are giving me their hard earned, savings.
Right. Kathy,
and I'm putting,
you're going to love my story in Colorado.
All right. I can't wait to hear it.
This is how I bought my property. This is how this went. So the marijuana industry started in Colorado, right? So my brain goes, where are people going to go? Colorado. I got to get some real estate. This is how my brain goes.
Yeah.
My stepson's in the industry. So we're talking and he goes, let's get a property. Okay, great. So we go out, we look at probably 10 properties. We bid on 2. We're the 13th or 14th bidder at full price. We didn't even get the property. So the market demand was ridiculous. So I called my agent and I said, what do you have? And she says, okay, let me show you a couple places. Now, I'm not even there. I sent my husband to go look at the places. He's got ADD. A purple butterfly comes by and he's forgot the property. He's chasing the purple butterfly. So he's out there looking at the property. And as he's looking at it, it's sold. That's how fast it was. So the girl showing him the thing, she says, this property just got sold. So he called me and he's so pissed off. He flew out there from Miami, and he's seen probably 10 places in 2 days. He's like, none of these places can we get because they sell by the time you go, say yes. So she goes, the funding just got lost on this other property, that we had almost signed a deal on. He goes, I'll take it. And she goes, you haven't seen it. He goes, I don't care. Put an offer in on it. He calls me. He goes, I just bid on something. And I'm like, you did what? And he goes, I just put an offer in and I haven't seen it. I'm like, okay. Did you sign the paperwork? He goes, kinda. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. So I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I just put money on something I haven't seen. So he goes and looks at it and he calls me and he goes, you're going to love it. And I'm like, great. This can't be right. And she calls, she goes, how quickly can you escrow us $60,000? I said, I can do it today. So this is how fast this went. Within a week, we were at the settlement table. And when we closed, there were 25 offers, including ours on the table, and we went 40 over asking to get the place. That's how crazy the Colorado market was.
Wow.
Fast forward now, I'm on my third year. My price has almost doubled of what it's worth.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And I did it sight unseen. I never saw the property. I just said, here you go.
Have you seen it now? Do you know what it looks like now?
My stepson's living there, so when I go, I give him a week to prepare when I get there because he's 25 and he's a single bachelor, so I want to make sure it looks decent when I get there. But the answer to that is yes.
Okay, good.
Well, there's technology today. I haven't seen half the properties I've bought. I shouldn't say that. I usually go, but you don't have to because you can get an appraisal. You can get an independent inspection.
Sure.
There's so much data online. You can, Google Maps will show you the area. There's lots of research tools so that you don't necessarily have to see it. I still do like to see it because I think property has a feeling to it. But in this case, someone had done that for you. And yeah, so and especially if you just know that an area is about to take off like that. Like I wish I had thought of that. It makes it a lot of sense.
Yeah, right? I know.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking, because I've got kids that are in their 20s and stuff. And even for myself, like, what advice would you give somebody who is just thinking about doing this? Like, what's the first step? What would be the first little nugget of advice for them?
It's like I said, the first thing is to just understand it enough. You don't have to be an expert, 20 years like I have it. You just need to read some basic books. You don't have to go to those $20,000 boot camps. There's so much information available. So, I wrote a book called Retire Rich with Rentals. It is super simple. Start with that. It's $20. To get, my 20 years of experience, right? All summed up in a book with checklists. If you're looking to flip, there's lots of books and podcasts on that. So just spend some time understanding. Usually there's local real estate investment groups you can join and get to know people and see different strategies. Be cautious of just calling a local realtor and talking about investment property. Realtors are marketers. That's really mostly what they do. They're good at marketing. And so they will say that they maybe are great at, they could find you a good investment property, but unless they own investment property, don't take their advice. Because oftentimes they'll just be selling you a house, but not really understand that you're trying to look for a return, whether you're trying to flip it or, do long-term buy and hold. So, but if you're looking for rental property, probably your greatest resource will be property managers because they can tell you what the rental demand is in your metro area.
Great advice.
My father is a real estate broker. And when I turned 19, I said, I want to be a psychologist. And he looked at me and he says, you're going to sell real estate. And I said, I don't want to sell real estate. And he goes, you're going to learn. And I said, I don't want to sell anything. And this is what he told me. He said, if you can sell anything, you could be a psychologist. And I said, what? And he goes, you're going to have to sell your services. So you need to learn the real estate market. So my father's a huge manager, flipper. He's done this his whole life. And when I decided, I took the real estate course, got my license. It was 1993. And he goes, I'll pay for it if you sell one house. It took me 7 months to sell the house, first of all, because I hate to sell. And then I got out of it. And he said to me, I'll never teach you any of my real estate secrets because you wouldn't stick with it. I'm like, I hate you. So I have to learn on my own through trial and error. And he'll call me and laugh. And he'll be like, how did that go for you? And I'm like, will you just tell me what I need to know? And he goes, nope, got to learn it on your own. So I come from that whole management perspective. And I've watched him do that. And I've watched him by, multiple units, manage and flip. And it's interesting that you say that. When you find a real estate agent, they have to be a manager because you're right. If they haven't managed, they don't know what to look for. An actual agent just wants the commission. Let's move on to the next topic. So it's very interesting. So I'm really excited. I went to your website already. I've already filled out the questionnaire. I'm really excited to do some work with you.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm obsessed with learning and I've been doing this so long. You'd think there couldn't possibly be anything else to learn, but I learn every day. There's new tax laws that just happened. And guess what? Our president, love him or hate him, is a real estate investor. So guess what? The new tax changes really benefit real estate investors in a massive way. So, it's just, again, love it or hate it, use it to your benefit. Because you have bonus depreciation now. Let's say I shouldn't get into tax stuff, but people often will buy a primary residence because they want tax deductions. Listen, you're better off renting your primary residence and buying investment property because you can't write off very much for your primary. You can write off everything on your investment property.
I'm so glad you just said that because that's exactly what I do. I rent in Miami, my investment property's in Colorado. Woohoo! I'm doing it right.
Yeah, you're doing right. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Like it just, if you're looking for tax deductions, you will be shocked at what you can get to a point where you're paying no tax. So, these are things you need to study and learn and understand, because if you're spending 30 to 50% of your income on tax, think about what a big raise you get if you can just all of a sudden keep that in your pocket. Imagine that, just because you bought a few things. And like you said, you can use other people's money. Don't let lack of money hold you back. I started with no money. It's just, you have to be aware of opportunity. If you listen to my show, you'll see I bring in a lot of kids, like 20, I call them kids, but they're like in their 20s, 21. And they don't have any money. What they have is the ability to learn quickly and drive. Not all of them, some of them. But I had one kid on my show who has been flipping land that, he buys for a couple $1,000s and flips it for, a couple more. But he's done 30 in the last year. So again, that's just a kind of a special little niche that he found, but he's in Florida and I don't know, it's working for him, and he's got mentors showing him how. So, just my recommendation is don't jump into anything you don't understand. Don't do it. The biggest mistakes I've ever made and the most money I have lost is from jumping into things I didn't understand or thought I understood or trusted somebody else that I thought they understood. You've got to know the basics. It's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever traveled internationally, but my family went to Costa Rica a couple of years ago, and we didn't stop to take the time to understand the money. We didn't know the exchange rate. And so the very first place we went, we bought a couple of pastries, and I think we paid $40 for them because we didn't know. We were the dumb Americans that didn't know how to count the change. Mm-hmm. And I think when we left, they were just all laughing. You don't want to be that person. You've got to know the basics, know the basics so you could protect yourself.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. We are out of time. This has been absolutely fun and informative.
It's been great. Yep.
I'm looking forward to doing some more work with you. So tell our listeners how they can find you.
Sure. It's Real Wealth Network. Real like real estate, wealth like your money, and network as the network of companies that we have found nationwide who help people, find these properties, get them all renovated, they find a tenant, and they offer the ongoing management. So it's kind of like a turnkey investment property. We have teams all across the country that help you do that. So it's realwealthnetwork.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for coming on. It's been absolutely fabulous. And I am looking forward to making some passive income. And I'm sure Dr. Tara is over there running numbers in her head and figuring out what she's going to do.
I'm joining newsletters. I'm sending Facebook requests. I'm all of it.
You are an amazing multitasker.
I am. You think I'm joking, but I'm not.
Well, hopefully we'll get to see you at one of our upcoming events. That will be fun.
Awesome. Great. Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody. You're listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Callie Estes and my co-host,
Dr. Tara Lynn South.
Hey, everyone. Thanks again for listening. I really hope you enjoyed the show today. Head on over to iTunes and Apple Podcasts and leave a comment or review of what you think. Or contact us at 1-800-706-0318. If you want to be on our show, feel free to email or call. And if you have a topic, feel free to email or call as well.
Thanks for listening to Unpause Your Life. For show notes and more, head on over to unpauseyourlife.com.
Big shout out to recoveryinnovators.com for help producing this show. Thank you, guys.
I took a walk down the long road where they said that I shouldn't go. up another day. But they needed to show you all the things that you won't do. Find faith or religion, but nothing to show for it. No need to escape, in love with my pain. I may be awake, but I'm alive, still alive, and I won't be bound by your mistake. No, I won't be your enemy, trapped at the gate. Bring me to life, put me to death. Just give me something that's just not so hard to believe. To believe. To believe. I took a walk down the dark road where they said that I shouldn't go. I knew the dangers of flying. Now I'm so far from silent ground. But they needed to show you all the things that you won't do. Find faith or religion, but nothing to show for it. No need to escape, in love with my pain. I may be awake, but I'm alive, still alive, and I won't be bound by your mistake. No, I won't be your enemy, trapped at the gate. Bring me to life, put me to death. Just give me something that's just not so hard to believe. To believe. To believe. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. No need to escape, in love with my pain. I may be awake, but I'm alive, still alive, and I won't be bound by your mistake. No, I won't be your enemy, trapped at the gate. Bring me to life, put me to death. Just give me something that's just not so hard to believe. To believe. To